Tonight's News 10 special report, the spotlight is on the system that's in place to watch over our children. But we ask the question, who's watching over that system?
Alani Latang is here now with more.
We hear from viewers all the time about Child Protective Services, how CPS is supposed to be looking out for their loved ones, and they don't realize how bad the situation is until it's too late.
When you have a system that's just so broken, something has to be done.
Cherie Pepper is talking about Child Protective Services while still mourning her grandson's death.
He was an absolute joy. He made me laugh and he made me smile.
Jesse Pepper Jr. of Jackson County, just 2 months shy of 2 years old, was found dead in his crib one morning. Pepper says CPS had information that might have saved him. That information was Junior's mother had started dating a key suspect in the murder of another child just weeks before. Scott Jurowitz was being investigated in the death of 18-month-old Brendan Hartramp.
The mother was told by CPS that this man is a suspect in a murder. She was told by several authorities, and she's not going to heed the warnings. Then they need to remove the children until they figure out what they're going to do with this man.
When CPS learned Jurowitz was around another child, they went and picked him up. CPS then went and found Junior at his other grandmother's home. Once they saw he was okay, they left. 10 days later, Junior was found dead from suffocation and severe blunt force trauma to the head.
Hopefully they can fix it. There's too many kids dying, suffering, getting abused, getting beat up, getting neglected in these homes because it is a paycheck.
Audrey Brown, a former Ingham County Child Protective Services worker from 2015 to 2016, says seeing a child isn't enough in some cases. He says too many cases, not enough time, and a lack of knowledge is the problem.
It's heartbreaking. I see it, but it comes back to the workers are stressed.
Brown said caseworkers had 30 days to close a case once it's opened, and you're only supposed to have 12 cases at a time.
I don't know too many workers that stay at 12. As long as your case is done in 30 days, you're a rock star.
Brown tells me once they get a complaint, they do have to see the child within 24 hours and contact parents as soon as possible.
Not only do you got to see the kids, you got to see the fathers of those kids.
Cherie said her son never got a call.
And I do believe that if that would have been done, I think that Junior would be here today.
3 years later, and the investigation is at a standstill. Pepper only having a song she wrote in Junior's memory to cope with her sorrow.
Make me smile and make me laugh. I can't help the way I act with love.
Brown said some of the things that are automatic grounds to remove a child from the home are abuse, neglect, drugs, hoarding, or infested homes. That's what has Meekin Clemens of Jackson County so outraged.
I knew something was going on. I did not know this was going on.
Clemens was renting the house she owned to her niece and her 2-year-old son.
It was not fit for humans to live in. It wasn't fit for animals to live in, and she had a 2-year-old living in there.
She called CPS. She also called police on her niece after she and her boyfriend threatened to burn the house down. When Clemens showed up with the police to remove her from the home, she was shocked.
All the copper piping in the house had been stripped out, so there's no running water in the home. They had stripped down the furnace. There was no heat in the home. And we're talking late December. A TV in her son's room that was just hanging from the ceiling. I mean, if the wires would have busted on that, that would have hurt him so badly. All the windows broken.
So she had to make a second call to CPS, and the response concerned her.
Well, that's something we'll have to deal with when we get to it.
That wasn't good enough for Clemens, so she called the child's biological father to come pick him up.
If I would have walked out of that house and she would have gotten him back and something would have happened to him, I would have never forgiven myself.
Fortunately, Clemens' nephew is safe with his biological father out of state. And as for Junior, police are continuing to investigate his death. However, Scott Jurowitz is in prison for life in the death of 18-month-old Brendan Hartramp. David.
All right, thank you, Alani. We reached out to the Department of Health and Human Services. They say they cannot discuss specific cases and released a statement saying, quote, all of our offices act to protect the safety and well-being of children. We never want to leave a child in an unsafe situation, end quote. If you have any stories that you would like us to look into, please email us at newstips@wilx.com or message us on our Facebook page.
Coming up tonight at 11.